Welcome to the new episode. Today we will analyze United States of America. The United States of America is the world's third largest country in size and nearly the third largest in terms of population. Located in North America, the country is bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean, to the east by the Atlantic Ocean. Along the northern border is Canada, and the southern border is Mexico. There are 50 states and the District of Columbia. More than twice the size of European Union, the United States has high mountains in the west and a vast central plain. The lowest point in the country is in the Death Valley, which is at negative 86 meters or negative 282 feet. And the highest peak is Mount McKinley at 20,320 feet or 6,198 meters. Everything seems larger, more spread out, conveniently available, reflecting a culture that values shopping and accessibility from fast food malls, highway service, plazas to drive throughs, and the US has pioneered various conveniences like barcode pricing systems, credit cards, escalators, and public restrooms, which are abundant and free. The US is situated on the northern American continent. It's bordered by the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to the east and west, with Canada and Mexico flanking its northern and southern borders, respectively. The country comprises 50 states and is further divided into 3,143 counties or county equivalents and 3,243 with territories included. Some states, like Michigan, have unique geographical features such as upper and lower peninsulas. The capital, Washington, D.C., is a federal district under direct control of Congress. The USA also includes five major unincorporated territories: Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, and Northern Mariana Islands. Including all territories and dependencies, the USA spans 11 time zones, although only 9 are utilized by people. Notably, there are two peculiar time zone differences: the Little and the Big Diomede Islands between Russia and America. Additionally, there are 325 Native American reservations spread throughout the lower 48 states. While under US federal territory, these areas afford a degree of autonomy to the native tribes that govern them. The largest cities in the USA by population are New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. However, the busiest airports are Atlanta, Dallas, and Denver International. The USA has an extensive network of roads and highways connecting all states except Hawaii. The longest of these is US Route 20. Despite a relatively robust rail network for freight trains, passenger train lines have declined over the years in favor of road transport. To be honest, passenger transportation system is worse than most of the countries in USA. Today, Amtrak operates the only long-distance intercity passenger train network. The largest shipping port is the Port of Los Angeles, in conjunction with the Port of Long Beach, which are physically joined but separate entities. Each state and territory has its own flag, license plate design, and nickname. For example, Minnesota is known as the land of 10,000 lakes, while in the Indiana residents are affectionately called Hoosiers. Cities also have nicknames such as Chinatown or the Windy City for Chicago, the Big Apple for New York, and the Emerald City for Seattle. History. For centuries, native peoples lived across the vast expanse that would become the United States. Starting in the 16th century, settlers from Europe to the New World started to move, establish colonies, and displace these native peoples. Explorers arrived from Spain in 1565 at St. Augustine, Florida, and the British landed in 1587 to establish a colony in Roanoke, in present day Virginia. In 1607, another British colony was established in what would become Jamestown. Jamestown is the first English speaking town in the New World. From there, the French founded the first French speaking city in Quebec in 1608. And later, in 1609, the Dutch they started colonize New York. Europeans continued to settle in the New World in ever increasing numbers throughout the next couple of centuries. In 1776, colonists living in the New England area of the New World drafted the Declaration of Independence, a document that stated that the American colonies were tired of being ruled by Great Britain. This was the birthmark of USA. With the colonies declaring independence from Great Britain, and Morocco was the first country to recognize the USA as a nation in 1777. After the independence, there was a war between England, America, and French, and the fighting went on for 7 more years until the Treaty of Paris was signed, and Britain officially recognized US as a nation. Meanwhile, Canada up north remained under British rule for several decades before gaining its own independence in 1867. The story of how each section of the United States became part of the country changes. For example, the original 13 British colonies eventually expanded westward. The Louisiana Purchase from France in 1803 doubled the country's size, and while consequent territories, wars with Spain and Mexico added territory. The Guana Islands Act of 1850s led to the US claiming islands in the Pacific and Caribbean, while the Civil War briefly divided the nation. Meanwhile, Alaska was purchased from Russia, Hawaii was annexed, and other territories were acquired through treaties and agreements. While not perfect initially, with issues like slavery and women's suffrage unresolved, the USA was the first nation founded on principles of human rights and liberal democracy. Between 1900 and 1915, 15 million immigrants arrived in the United States from countries such as Italy, Russia, and Poland. After World War II, the USA assumed administrative control over several islands in the Pacific previously under Japanese control. Micronesian island groups like Palau, the Marshall Islands, and the Federated States of Micronesia were designated as U.S. trust territories until they gained independence in 1986. Many places in the USA have names that reflect their history. For instance, areas once part of Louisiana Purchase often have French names, while those with Spanish heritage have Spanish names. Additionally, many cities and states are named after Native American words. While iconic landmarks like the Statue of Liberty and Grand Canyon are widely known, there are numerous underrated gems worth exploring, from the birth of the New World in Chicago to the Crazy Horse Monument instead of Mount Rushmore. The USA offers a wealth of diverse attractions. In summary, the USA, vast and diverse landscape ranging from coastlines to mountains, deserts to forests, offers an endless array of natural wonders waiting to be discovered. Let's dive deeper into this geographical diversity. We will start with nature, or seven main physical regions of USA. Number 1, coastal plains extending from the North Atlantic states to the Gulf of Mexico. These plains are split off by the Appalachian Mountains. Number 2, Central Plains and Great Lakes region. East of Mississippi River lies this region, with Lake Superior being the largest freshwater lake by surface area in the world. Lake Michigan, entirely within US boundaries, is the largest lake by area within a single country. Number 3, Great Plains. West of the Mississippi, this is the flattest part of the country and home to Tornado Alley, where the most tornadoes form. Number 4, Rocky Mountains, the longest mountain chain in the USA and the third longest globally after the Andes and the Great Escarpment in South Africa. The Rockies are the source of the Missouri River, the longest river in the US. Number 5, Great Basin. This region holds the US desert ecoregions, including cold deserts with alpine flora and dry, hot, shrubland rocky sandy deserts. The Sonoran Desert, shared with Mexico, is known for its saguaro cacti. Number 6, coastal ranges. Bordering the Great Basin, these ranges include the Cascades and Sierra Nevada. This region sits on the San Andreas fault line, making it the most earthquake prone area in the USA. And number 7, Alaska. Up north, Alaska boasts the highest peak, Denali, and the top 10 highest peaks in the country. Unlike islands formed by fault lines, the Hawaiian Islands were created by a unique hotspot in the middle of the ocean, known as the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain. Mauna Kea, on Hawaii's Big Island, could be considered the tallest mountain in the world if measured from its base to its peak, with a significant portion underwater. Economy. The USA is the largest economy by nominal GDP globally and is second only to China in purchasing power parity. The US dollar serves as the most widely used currency internationally and is the world's reserve currency. With over 120 of the world's 500 largest companies headquartered in the USA, the country holds approximately 40% of the world's billionaires and 30% of the millionaires. The Nasdaq and the New York Stock Exchange lead as the largest stock exchanges in terms of market capitalization and trade volume. Top exports include petroleum products, electronics, machinery, aerospace and defense equipment, vehicles, medical and scientific equipment. American brands like Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Tesla dominate the world, reflecting a culture of entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. American franchises have expanded globally, with McDonald's and KFC found in even the most remote corners of the world. Even the countries that resist American influence, the success of these franchises often leads to imitation and adaptation. Invention has always been an integral part to American history. America was the first country to establish an electronic grid as a utility for citizens back in 1882. Wright brothers' invention of the first sustained and controlled airplane in 1903 revolutionized air travel. The free market capitalist model encourages innovation and commerce with loose marketing laws, allowing almost anything within the bounds of public decency to be advertised, from medicine to colleges to attorney settlement claims. The United States of America is the world's third largest country in size and nearly the third or largest in terms of population. Throughout its history, the US has been a nation of immigrants. The population is diverse, with people from all over the world seeking refuge and a better way of life. The population of the US is 333 million. Washington, D.C. is the capital. Nearly 59 million immigrants have arrived in the US in the past 50 years, mostly from Latin America and Asia. Today, a near record 14% of the country's population is foreign born, compared with just 5% in 1965. Over the next 5 decades, the majority of US population growth is projected to be linked to new Asian and Hispanic immigration. Asia has replaced Latin America, including Mexico, as the biggest source of new immigrants to the USA. In a reversal of one of the largest mass migration in modern history, net migration flows from Mexico to the USA turned negative between 2009 and 2014, as more Mexicans went home than arrived in the USA. The immigrant share of the USA population is approaching a record high but remains below that of many other countries. The 44 million foreign born people living in the USA in 2017 accounting for 14% of the population, according to a Pew Research Center analysis of the American Community Survey. The racial makeup of the USA is diverse and has a complex history. Native Americans are the indigenous people of the continent, comprising numerous tribes with distinct customs and traditions. The arrival of Europeans, primarily from England, began in the late 1500s, leading to colonization and the Atlantic slave trade from West Africa. The story of Black America is marked by the legacy of slavery, segregation, and civil rights problems. Despite this history of oppression, Black Americans have made significant contributions to American society and culture, shaping the nation's identity and values. Immigration waves from various parts of the world have contributed to the rich diversity of the United States. Asians, including Chinese, Filipinos, Koreans, and Vietnamese, arrived in the mid 1800s, followed by Latin Americans from countries such as Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic. These communities have established vibrant cultural enclaves across the country. Efforts to promote diversity and representation are evident in media, retail, and popular culture, with initiatives to ensure inclusivity and representation of all races. English is the national language of the United States, and it's the language used for administration and official documents. Additionally, 28 states have voted to make English their official state language. However, three states, Maine and Louisiana for French and New Mexico for Spanish, have de facto bilingual policies. In addition to English, some territories also have official bilingual status for their native languages. Spanish is recognized alongside English in Puerto Rico, Spanish and French being the most commonly taught languages in some of the schools. Religion in the USA is diverse, with various faiths practiced across the country. While Christianity is the main religion, there is also significant presence of other religions such as Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. The USA is known for its religious diversity and freedom of worship. In the United States, around 70 to 75% of the people claim affiliation with some kind of Christian denomination, with Protestant being the largest group, followed by Catholics. Other significant religious groups include Muslims at around 3%, Jewish and Buddhists at around 2% each. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Keep watching for more content and don't forget to subscribe to keep learning. I appreciate all your support.